My name is Jeff Brown, and I am a language lover. I love languages. I've decided to make this video because I'm going to show you, or I want to show you guys, how to learn or how to acquire the language of your choice, the language of your dreams in 1 year. During this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you step by step exactly what you need to do to acquire or to learn the language of your dreams. And check this out, during this year, during this video, I'm going to be acquiring a new language. I'm going to be learning a new language over the year, and I'm going to show you exactly step by step what I do to acquire that language. So during this video, I'm going to show you what you need to do, and I'm going to show you myself learning a new language. So I've decided to learn Arabic. I chose Arabic because Arabic, from what I understand, from what I hear, is an extremely difficult language. So let's talk about the name of this video for a sec. The name of this video is called How to Learn or Acquire Any Language in 1 Year Guaranteed. Now, that's actually not true. I'm not going to teach you how to learn anything. I'm going to teach you how to acquire a language. I'm going to show you how to acquire a language much like a baby acquires his or her first language. So let's take a minute and let's talk about the difference between learning versus acquisition.
Acquisition and learning, I get the credit for both of these terms, but I didn't really invent them. Acquisition and learning was kind of an informal use. Wallace Lambert of Canada used it. Acquisition means picking up a language, subconsciously absorbing the language, having a feel for it. Learning means what we did in school, knowing the rules, being able to consciously remember what they are, talk about them, etc. And the big breakthrough is that they're different, and that acquisition is much more powerful than learning, which came as a big shock to me because I love grammar.
So how do babies learn? Well, we know for a fact that babies don't learn language. They acquire language. Babies acquire language naturally, subconsciously, spontaneously, without even thinking about it. They acquire language through what's called comprehensible input.
So comprehensible input is the input that you get if you are a native speaker child growing up in any culture. The language that adults and caregivers use with you and other siblings and other children, all other humans, is comprehensible input. So that kind of input eventually creates acquisition. We acquire language from that kind of input. Learning is the sort of superimposition of conscious grammar, where we have a set of grammar rules, and so we consciously learn those. We haven't absorbed them like we did as a child. Or if we learn a second language, we can also acquire it by simply living in the culture, interacting with people, and absorbing those rules. But learning is what's traditionally been done in classrooms, where there's not a lot of acquisition going on. Instead, what's happening is students are expected to memorize grammar rules and then somehow apply those when they speak.
In the reviews of the research I've looked at, the studies that claim grammar worked in their experiments, kids who had grammar did better. In every condition, every study, those conditions were met. They were students who liked grammar, who were advanced students who had studied lots of grammar. They were thinking about rules, they had studied the rules, and they had lots of time. So this is what the monitor does. If you're saying something in another language, the sentence pops into your mind. Then, before you say it, if you're thinking about this, you can inspect the sentence, think of the rules you learned, and make corrections, but it's very hard to do. It's mostly used when we give people grammar tests. On grammar tests, you can focus on form, you can think about correctness, and you have time.
So, how do babies learn grammar? Well, we know for a fact that babies don't learn grammar. babies acquire grammar. They acquire grammar naturally, again, through comprehensible input. Babies don't learn anything. So when do we learn grammar? When do we as adults learn grammar? Well, we try to learn grammar when we're around 6 or 7. We have to go to school, and we usually take a language class or an English class or a grammar class. And in that class, what happens? The teacher usually says, okay, everybody, I want you to underline the verb once, underline the noun once, underline the verb twice, and the direct object 3 times. And that's when we first try to learn grammar. Now, I've got a secret. Don't tell anybody, but I never learned grammar ever. You remember those grammar classes, the grammar class I just told you about? I never paid attention. I didn't like it. So you know what I did? I drew. I daydreamed and I drew most of the time. In fact, all of the time. So my point is, I never learned grammar. In fact, studies show that we never learn grammar. The grammar we know comes from listening and reading to correct speech. So why study grammar? So for this year, as I acquire Arabic, remember, I'm not going to be learning Arabic. I'm going to be acquiring Arabic similar to the way a child acquires Arabic, acquires his or her first language. I'm not going to be studying any grammar. Now, there's a lot of you out there that love grammar. I know. I've met some of you. If you love grammar, that's fine. And you want to study grammar, that's fine. I suggest 2 things. Number 1, wait until you're fluent. Wait until you speak the language fluently or semi-fluently, then study the grammar. That's the way children do it. Or what you could do is just browse grammar. Maybe 1 minute a day, maybe 2 minutes a day. Just look at it and that's it. So if you study grammar, it actually hurts. There's a hypothesis called the monitor hypothesis. And what the monitor hypothesis says is this. If you study grammar, you study grammar, when you go to speak the language, you're going to think of the grammar first, and it's going to get in the way. It's going to hinder your natural production of the language. So once again, for this year, forget about grammar. Do not study grammar. If you want to do grammar, fine, browse grammar. 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, etc. 99% of your focus should be on comprehensible input. Those are things you hear or things you read, not on things you write and not on things you memorize.
So when I speak French, I don't generally worry about grammar, but there's a few things I like to show off. Like I make the past participle agree with the pronoun la chose que j'ai prise, and I can think about it and monitor it, and those little things there. But I've acquired a lot of French already, so it's easy to do. We're making students monitor everything, and they've acquired very little.
Okay, so let's talk about teaching methods. There are probably 100 different teaching methods out there. And is there a teaching method which comes closest to the way a child or a baby acquires his or her first language? And the answer is yes, there are 2. The first one is called the natural approach. And the natural approach was invented in the 1970s by doctors Stephen Krashen and Tracy Terrell. Stephen Krashen is from USC and Tracy Terrell is from UCI, which is UC Irvine. So basically what happened in the 1970s is doctors Krashen and Terrell got together and they said, hey, let's see if we can design a teaching method for foreign language classrooms where the students acquire the language similar to most closest to the way a baby acquires his or her first language. So the natural approach was born. In a nutshell, basically in a natural approach classroom, this is what happens. Students don't get any grammar instruction. So there's no explicit grammar instruction at all. There's no verb conjugation, there's no fill in the blanks, there's no indirect object pronouns, preterite, subjunctive, etc. None of that. Students acquire grammar naturally, similar or exactly the way a baby acquires his or her first grammar. Secondly, there's no correction. So in a natural approach classroom, students are never corrected. And we'll talk about corrections later. And number 3, in a natural approach classroom, the language is entirely done in the target language. So there's very little, if not any, English in the classroom. I would say at least 90% target language, 10% English only in emergencies, only when you really, really have to. The second teaching method is called TPRS. And TPRS is used mainly in high schools and elementary schools and middle schools.